No, it's at 8. I'm on the Uber right now. I was telling Michael, I said I had to grace you guys with my presence. Otherwise, why
Wow.
would anyone come to this meeting?
Of course not. Of course not.
Yeah, but
Well,
I'm very upset with you, Omid. You should have changed it.
I'm sorry. This is the only time I can do it.
I'm just
But you
joking.
know how much special attention you're getting from me all the time when you're calling and texting? That is like probably already an hour every maybe
Weak.
every week, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, Omid,
You
I'll
guessed it
Venmo
right.
you. You're
Yeah.
an hourly. Let me know your hourly rate. I'll Venmo
Oh
you.
no, I love
I'm
talking
just
to you. I'm
kidding.
just
I
saying.
know.
Hey,
Just
how do you
kidding.
guys like this light thing in the back?
I thought it was
I
a
like it.
generated screen. I thought it was generated like a wallpaper. You know how you can put those wallpapers?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. No, no, it's not.
What is
Yeah,
it?
I don't
Adjust
know what
background and
else to do
effects.
with this
Like
backdrop.
it's like floating in space.
Hold on. That is funny. All right, cool. All
I have
right,
a
man.
crazy objection I've been getting lately. Can I ask that before I hop off?
Go ahead. You can also ask
So,
Eric, by the way. Ask Eric and then compare. Go ahead.
okay, how about that? So when I'm doing going through the house and kind of getting the condition, people are saying like, well, I have the appliances that last, like when they're basically saying they haven't updated it. Things now aren't built to last and da da da. So what I say to that is I say, listen, Omid, I totally agree with you, buddy. But let me tell you something. People these days want to keep up with the Joneses. And unfortunately, they don't appreciate that like we do. How do
Okay.
you handle that?
I think you can go in many ways. Um, I mean,
Like
one
just
of
basically
the
being like, it ain't worth shit. It doesn't, we still are gonna need to replace it.
yeah, I mean,
Pretty much.
you could say that, but what you all I mean, you could say anything. What I would say or what I would say
If you want, you can
is
take them.
what is it?
If you want, you can take them.
Yeah, if you yeah, I usually say, look, we are never going to keep the appliances and things in place unless they are brand new. When I say brand new, I mean like bought yesterday. And the reason is when we get into a property and we try to renovate it, bringing it up to 2025 standards, we have a specific process and flow of furniture, of appliances, of floors, and the color of the walls that we put together. With that being said, if you keep it in the house, we will probably dispose them. If you take it with you, that's fine with us too. It's totally up to you. Now,
Yeah.
if they're on a newer property and it's innovation, you want the appliances and everything there because it adds value when you're trying to resell it. So in
Yeah.
that case, I always say like, hey, it's totally up to you. If you want to take them, take them. If you want to keep that, leave them, leave them. I always give them the option. But most of the people, they always leave it because it's too much of a hassle taking a fridge with you. It's too much of a hassle taking a oven with you, unless you have a really nice place and you spend a lot of money for it. And we know the properties that we target, that's in the case. That just is not the case.
Yeah, because I basically, me trying to explain that like that's gonna have to go into the reno. But they're like, no, these were built to last. I'm like, yeah, good.
Oh shit. Jay is in town. How are you, Jay?
Hey, how are you? Good to
Good.
see you.
Good to see you. You've been gone for a couple of weeks.
I have had the baby, then I had to go to work last week.
Oh wow. Congratulations. The
Thank
baby's
you.
there.
Thank you. Yes,
Healthy.
Congrats.
yes. Thank you. Thank you. Good to see everyone. I'm celebrating Vad. Vad had a big win.
You
Chef.
did?
Not a big win. It's just a win.
A
That is a
win
big
is a
one.
win.
Everyone is a big one.
Yeah, I actually locked up one contract today.
Fuck
Very
yeah.
nice.
Yeah, but now I need to figure out how to deal with the squatter. It's a relative, and yeah,
I
That
Where,
love
what state is it in?
let me
North
know. I'm from
Carolina,
Boston.
Winston-Salem.
So North Carolina has lenient. Is it good landlord state?
It's not even landlord. It's a lady who, because of the health, she moved to another state. She was thinking the house is vacant, but her sister's stepdaughter just moved in, and she started living over there without letting everybody know.
Also, it's not a squatter. It's not a complete wild animal living there. I call them raccoons, you know? Uh, like
That's good.
people that squat, it's literally raccoons. So it's not a it's not a stray. It's a family member.
Yes.
Okay. Does she know that? So did she know that she lives there? Or she just
Acco-
found out as you guys sent out pictures?
not pictures. We started talking. She was lenient towards the price and selling the house. And then before signing the contract, her sister told, "Oh, by the way, my stepdaughter actually lived here for some time," and that's what the seller told me.
I
And of
would
course, seller is
if she
not
does
happy.
so I would hit her with a bigger even deduction. I mean, I've done this before where we got a house under contract. We didn't know that anybody's living there. And then as soon as we send pictures or send a person to come out take pictures, when they met up with the seller, they found out that somebody's actually living there and seller didn't know. And we got a major price reduction because the seller didn't know what to do with the squatter. Um, and they just sold it as is with the squatter, and we were able to find a buyer that will deal with the squatter but it has to be at like a incredible discount. Unless you can figure out with the daughter, because since she has, I mean, it is a family member, you can offer her money for keys or keys for cash. Typically, it works. At least it's a
Okay,
good
that's
thing
what I'm.
that it's a family member, because then there's some communication. If it's a complete stranger, crackhead living in the house, then
It's very hard. Yeah.
it's difficult. You have to actually go through an eviction.
Family members occupying your
Mm,
property, not be willing to move out is very common, guys.
Very,
Very
yeah.
common. It happens every other month you have one, and often is the daughter. The daughters are like quite, I mean, those are the ones that I get the most, and they are very difficult to work with. But incentives, let me give you money, you know, helps most of the time. Let me work with your timeline. Be empathetic. Some of them are very unpleasant, especially some of the, again, daughters, females. They are very unpleasant. They feel like they are very entitled, and they usually argue with the father or with the mother. And reduction most of the time comes in place. I usually pull the reduction card when I have a buyer, just because then I have leverage, something that I can lean against, and I push with a closing date, because usually the parents or the family members, they want to close fast because they want to be done with it, right? The person that is living in the property is the one occupying it and trying to stretch the time. So you have two individuals that one of them wants to take time as much as possible versus the other one to close as fast as possible. And you can leverage that, navigate that by giving a faster closing, concession, cash for keys. It's like a few things you got to do, but it works out most of the time. So I know a lot of people are at the event in Arizona live, and that gives us much more of an opportunity for us to actually get into each individual's questions or problem that we might have, or just leveling up to where we want to be in terms of objections. If you have side blast questions, whatever that is, this is the place and the time. I gave today approximately 2 hours. Okay, so let's get started. We can do objection handling, but if you guys have specific questions, we can go over it as well. I know Vad brought some recordings he wanted us to evaluate. So what do you guys would like to do first?
I say recordings. I learned so much from those. I know
Okay,
Vad will get a lot of value.
good. Vad, do you have them here?
yeah, I'm gonna send in a group because I'm driving and
Okay.
I joined from my
I
phone.
will play one. I will play one randomly from Jay yesterday. How about that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, and you know what? I'm gonna play one specific one. We got a property on the contract yesterday. Um, Amazing deal in a very good part of Georgia. Very good part. Houses sell. The house next to us sold and is right now pending for $405,000, but is 4,400 square feet smaller than ours. We are right at the end of the cul-de-sac, increases value, and 400 square feet higher. We got it under contract for 300,000. Yes,
Damn.
yes, yes. And Jay did that. Jay did that. I had to kick some ass off Jay a couple times last week because he was getting a little bit slow. We worked on it together, and while I was on Arizona, he was cranking it, being a good partner, and he closed it. Hi, Fatima. How are you?
Good. I'm waking up, y'all. Okay.
Yeah, we all have. Look at my hair. All right. So I'm going to play that recording right now. And I haven't listened to the recording myself. So I'm with you guys listening to it the first time. He got it to the finish line, but I can tell you one thing. I closed her under contract, on the contract review. She was very reluctant, very back and forth, had to speak to her daughter, her son. Even right signing at the contract time, she said, I just need another 5-10 minutes because I want to make sure of this. So that's how it went at the end, just to let you know. But she signed.
Can we
So
hear that one as well? Ahmed, your close.
I did not record that because I was at the airport when I did it. I was at the airport when I did it. But I can let you know exactly how it went. As
And
always,
the contract that you guys locked in, was that a novation or is that wholesale?
the one that I just talked about is
The
an
400
ovation.
for 300.
Yeah, is an ovation.
Nice.
Why would I give it to an investor on a discount? I'm gonna sell it for 425 and make it all, you know. And I'm willing to wait 2 months for it. Okay.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's interesting how many people are reluctant learning novation. They are just they can't make that leap. Is it? I know in
We're
the beginning is scary, but you should be able to do it. Go ahead.
We're on 50-50. We lock in 50% novations,
hmm
and they're just in the background cruising,
hmm
waiting for close. You know, while
hmm
wholesale deals are more hustler. I mean,
hmm
you have to hustle more. You have to do more showings. Whereas a novation, it's like, I wish we
hmm
could do all novations because they were
Yeah,
easy. I mean, you hire an agent and they do everything for you, literally.
it is easier, but I like to add some value to it too. I always like to make some updates on the properties because
We don't touch anything right now. We're doing an novation right now where
Mhm,
we got the house from owners. They didn't live in it for a year. They moved from Chicago to North Carolina, and
mhm,
they haven't been in the house for a year. And I
mhm.
feel like
Yeah, those
they
you don't want
were
to invest money into us. Yeah.
so check the yeah, but it was a nice house. I'm talking about
Mm,
like a real nice house.
mhm,
3,800 square feet, mini mansion, okay? And the water and electrical was off for about a year and a half.
mhm,
And after we got a seller under or a buyer under contract, and when we locked it in, they had an inspection, and when we turned on the water, the pipes burst, okay, over because they didn't winterize it,
mhm,
and so there was a few pipes burst in the walls, okay, which that was like a few days before the inspection, and we freaked out because we knew that we were gonna blow the sale if the inspector comes out and there are pipes burst in the wall. So we had an emergency plumber come out, and we fixed all of this shit in the walls, okay, like literally over the weekend.
mhm.
Um, and then we went to the seller, and they knew about it, okay? They knew about those things. So we went after a $10,000 reduction, and they were like, okay. And this
There you
this
go.
was like really easy, you know. We paid a few $100 to our plumber. That was the only repair that we've done. So we had a plumbing repair and a little drywall repair, which,
Right.
you know, and that passed inspection. So we have a closing actually on the 5th. That is supposed to be on the 5th, but we moved it to the 7th because they're waiting for the curement of the appraisal.
Good.
So,
Yeah, I mean, when there are issues and there were unforeseen issues, you can always try for a price reduction, you know, if you choose to do it. I'm very selective, me personally. I don't do it with everybody. If it's a nice old lady who gave me already a good price and everything is going smooth, I'm not gonna go for it, even if I have to come out of my pocket with a couple $100. Me personally, that's how I do it. But when there's somebody that is really nickel and diming, giving me a hard time, you know, and overall not easy to work with, and there's something, I best believe I will go back. You know, so it really depends on you, and karma is gonna hit. You know, so it really depends on the seller and how much I'm willing to collaborate with them and they are with me. But I got a recording right now here. I'm gonna share the call with Jay. Again, I have not listened to it, okay, but it is a good deal. And based on me going over the contract with the lady, I know it was not the easiest. All right. And it's a great deal. So I'm gonna play it now. J, Ricky, okay, go ahead.
Hello.
Hi, this is Jay with Golden Cap.
By the way, where is this guy? There are some people that reach out to me every 5 minutes with special needs. Like I'm ChatGPT or they paid me $10,000 like Eric, but I'm not. Okay? I'm not. I swear I'm not. This is just us hanging out, right? I tell those people, okay, come to the group session and ask it all. But they're too cool for school. You know, they don't come. And I bet with you 2 hours from now, all those 10, 15 people yesterday that message will message me again. I said, well, you missed it, dude. Next time, show up. So for all those people that are watching this YouTube, please just join next time.
Capital, how are you?
Okay, how about yourself, sir?
I'm doing great. I believe your name, I don't want to pronounce it wrong. I have your Kelly.
Everybody can hear
Kelly.
it?
Is that
Yeah,
right?
sir.
Kelly.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, Kelly. I'm with Golden Capital again on a recorded line. We have a call scheduled today regarding your property on Watson's Gate Road in Loganville, and you've spoken to one of my associates about it via text, correct?
Yes.
Okay, great. And I didn't catch you at a bad time, did I?
Oh, no, it's almost 8 o'clock. I'm not doing anything.
Okay.
Okay, first of all, how did you guys like Jay's energy?
Love it. Love it. It
Positive,
is
inviting?
positive and also curious. He's not
Mhm.
pushy. He's just asking, "Oh, I believe you are interested. You spoke to associate, right?"
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah. And me and Jay worked on it quite a lot. I want you to know this did not come naturally. Jay is a low energy guy. Sometimes I speak to him to wake him up. I ask him, Jay, are you depressed? He says, no. I'm like, why are you talking like you're depressed? He's like, oh, okay. And he gets out of it. So I want you to highlight this, that Jay is not this person that you're hearing right now. Naturally himself, he's not. So be ready to put an act on sometimes. Sometimes you don't feel it. Okay? I wanted to give you guys this context because when you listen to this, you think Jay is this amazing energy guy, you know, like could positively. No, that's not him. He's not.
Perfect. Right. So, I understand from my notes that you're considering selling. I just wanted to make sure that we're on the same page.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, great. So, Kelly, the purpose of our call today is to pretty much evaluate the area and see what the property qualifies for. And our process is pretty simple. I will be asking you a few questions throughout the
Okay.
call in an effort to assist our underwriting department, and then I would be able to get you an offer by the end of the phone call. Sounds good with
Okay.
you?
Oh, yes, sir.
All right, awesome. You have any questions in mind before we get into it?
Not just yet. I just want to answer any questions you may have, and if I think of anything along the way, I'll ask after.
Sounds good. Okay, sure. So first things first, are you still living on the property? Is it vacant, rented out?
We're still living on the property.
So, give you some context. So the introduction is very, very important. You want to make it positive. You want to have good pacing that shows confidence. And then you want to segue smoothly, transition smoothly. I see a lot of people jumping into something important. This is not a time to go into important questions. This is a warm-up. You just made a good impression, and now you don't want to overwhelm the seller. You want to ease into it. Do we know she's occupying the property? Yes. Why are we asking the question? To just warm up. Okay? So sometimes be intentional about how you get started into a conversation. You don't have to right away be on the script or this and this and that and ask all these questions. Warm into it. Ease into it. Okay? I'm sure all of us would have been more successful with a date if we would have warmed into it when we were all 17, 18. But we were too harsh, too strong, right? So same thing here. Ease into it. Be very accommodating.
Okay, got it. And is there an HOA on this house too?
Yes.
Okay. How much are the HOA fees?
Usually here lately we've paid $285. It's not that much because there's no pool, there's no playground. Yeah, there's no pool, no playground, nothing like that.
Is that per year, 285, or is it monthly?
That's per year. And
okay,
it may
per
be a
year.
little bit
That's
more.
not too
It
bad
goes
then.
up. Yeah, and I may be off. I think, yeah, because that's what I paid this past year.
By the way, how much do we care about the HOA fees? Not much. I mean, you care, but it's really not a big deal. This is just to have a conversation because often, this is intentional ask. Often people hate HOA. Now you have something in common. Okay? This is really intentional. This HOA thing, you ask because of rental restrictions. That's your main concern right now here. If it's for an investor. But that's it. Intentional.
Here.
I see.
So I'm pretty sure it will go.
I think that's not a problem.
Yeah.
Okay. That's like under $1 per day, right? So.
Yeah, because there's no, like I said, there's no. It's a smaller subdivision, so there's no, like playground or pool or anything like that. We're just like located in a really good area.
Okay, great. Okay, well, there's no pool. It's okay. Got it. And are there any rental restrictions in the HOA, by the way, that you know of?
Not that I know of.
Are there any rental properties in the neighborhood?
I'm pretty sure there are.
Okay, got it. Have you spoken to any other buyers yet, Kylie?
I'm sorry, excuse me?
Have you spoken to any other buyers yet, or am I the first one?
I've actually had, because of the location of our property, like we live right behind Grayson High School. So I talk to people almost at least once a week, calling me asking me if I'm interested. But I actually had the most recent one. Yeah, usually I just say, hey, I'm not interested, and just. But actually, since I started thinking about selling, I actually did talk to an investor actually yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
I see.
Okay. This question is very important and not many people really ask it. And I ask it right away at the beginning after the introduction. Have you spoken? Not that. Not. Very rarely that happens. So I'm not concerned about that. But have you spoken to any other investors, or am I the first one? That really gives me the insight I need to know how to deal with this person, not based on just the answer, but how she answers. It gives me a lot of intel. By the way, Bo, you do Instagram videos, right? I love them, though. Keep on posting those. I like them.
Yeah,
Yes,
we'll do.
yes, yes. So this gives you a lot of insight on the energy that she has when she hears about the buyer. Oh, you know what? I'm getting calls all the time. Or like her, yeah, and also how transparent she is. Yeah, I have spoken to them. I actually, as a matter of fact, spoke to one yesterday, but I usually say I'm not interested. Okay, this is a lot of intel for you. That means you have competition. That means people made offers. That means even though she has talked to many, she's not burned out because she speaks about it pretty neutral. That means she's really interested in selling. This is not an accident why you guys are on the phone. It gives you a lot of clues that you can use throughout this call, right? The next question, when I trained him right, we'll see if he does. What was the highest offer you got so far? So you can stay away from it. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I don't know the call yet. So we'll see.
Okay, and how did that go?
It went pretty good. I just felt like the price that they gave me was like really, really. It's one of those. If I was desperate enough to sell my house and I didn't get any other offers.
Let's give you guys some context. Her house is worth 425. We got it at 300. Okay? Let's give you some context based on her statement. If you prejudge a lead, you think this is probably going to be one of those that I give an offer and it's not going to work out maybe because so many other wholesalers called.
That would be the offer I would take.
Understood. Okay, and what was the offer? Are you comfortable in sharing that?
Not really, because I want to see if your offer is going to be better, and their offer was low, but they had other incentives as well to go along with the offer. But I just felt like even with all the things that they were offering, once I know for a fact that once they, renovate the house and upgrade, do whatever they're going to do to it, my house is you can rent my house for like $3,000 a month if you choose to rent it, or you can sell it for at least $420. Because my house is 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, and the rooms compared to a lot of the houses that they're building now, especially out here in Loganville, the rooms are fairly small.
True.
My house is, like I said, 20 years old, but the rooms are a very good size.
Okay, got it. And the reason I wanted to know what the offer was because my job is to pretty much gather all the information and I will pitch it to the underwriters. So I'm going to justify the price and pretty much I want to get you the best offer as possible. So if they gave you a lower offer, obviously we want to be higher than that, and that way you would be more comfortable. If you don't mind, I'm sharing that number.
What did he do?
Ask again.
He gave context
Diffuse,
of why
clarify, discuss.
Yes, he clarified. He gave now context of why he's doing what he's doing. And now he's discussing it again. That is a good transition instead of just going around it. Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to hold this against you. We just asked because we want to make sure we're on the same page. That's what average people usually say. And not even average say that, to be honest. They just move on. But there's ways on how you can get to your answer. Again, I don't know if she's going to answer. She might not. But the fact that Jay is asking this, not letting him just be deflected, but gives it another try with a little bit more tact, with a minimal intention, more context. Let's see if she's going to answer.
That would be great for me so I can pitch it to the underwriters once I present it over to them.
I prefer not really, because I I just want to see, like I said, where you guys are headed. Because I know what my goal is. What I understand, my house is 20 years old, so I'm not oblivious to that. I do know my bathrooms could be upgraded. I mean, because the house hasn't been upgraded with the exception of the countertops in my kitchen. With that, so I know, and my friends are So my friend's a real estate agent, so she keeps me up to date.
Look, she is even a real estate friend
and things of that nature. And I just feel like
those
the
are the
other
best.
company, they just say if my house is worth, say if it was updated and everything like that, because it's an easy 420, maybe 450. Because of the location, because of the size of the rooms, because it's in the cul-de-sac.
Hold on. She knows the value of her house. I said 425, right? Earlier? She said 420 to 450. Isn't that interesting?
Easily 450, but this company it was offering me like half of that.
Okay, what is that? 450 450 minus 225. Yeah, okay, that's very low.
So they were offering around the 200 range?
Yeah, and that to me was just not that.
Okay, now he got this price. Did she give an exact answer right away? No, they talked around it. He got the price. He knows his competition is dumb enough to offer under 300. Rookie mistakes. This person spoke to a lot of wholesalers that are rookies. That's why.
That was not acceptable.
So now you know who's your competition. A rookie.
Because, like I said, I want to sell my house just because my husband passed away 3 years ago, and my kids and I want to move on, but at the same time, it's a mixture of it's hard to maintain with just my salary, and my kids are ready to. There's too many memories in the house. It's hard to move forward. So we just decided, that it'd be time just to kind of move forward, but not forward to the point where after I pay my house off, I'm going to walk away with minimum.
I get it. Yeah, that's really I'm sorry to hear about your husband. So that was just 3 years ago. You lost your husband?
3 years ago, yeah, 3 years ago.
3 years ago. Okay, that's really recent. My condolences, by the way. So the main reason right now is you're the only one that's paying for the mortgage?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay. Got it. So it's a little bit cost burden to maintain the house and at the same time pay the bills and mortgage. That's why
the mortgage is not the issue. It's just like the upkeep. Like I said, the house is 20 years old, so things need to be, it's 20 years old, so of course the bathroom.
Jay, why are you giving me baby fever, man? This is so cute. I remember my first daughter when she just got out and I was holding her just like that. It felt like I was so insecure. It felt so unreal. It just came back to me when I saw that. So thank you for that.
Need to be upgraded because now, everybody wants the marble countertops and, the fancy, things, And even the quote that I got to upgrade, I think was like right around $50,000 or so, maybe a little more.
She's like selling herself.
And, it's just like little things that
beautiful.
I just, I can't afford to do.
And how did she get to say all these things? Jay mentioned something that he thought might be a pain point for her to see if he can extract more information. It was an intentional statement. I can see how cost burden might be paying the mortgage, paying the bills, being the only one doing it after her husband passing away. And when she heard that, the emotions came up, and now she's sharing her thoughts around that subject. Okay?
And
you planted
Jay
the
is doing
seed.
a great job listening. I mean, he's doing a yes.
On this one, he's doing good. Yeah.
On this one.
I mean, we all have our ups and downs, but this one is so far pretty good.
And, I just couldn't do it.
I want to highlight his competition are Americans native speaking English. Jay's with me now. He came back in November of last year. I'm training him. That's the outcome. When you have a coach or a trainer or all this stuff that people sign up to, that's where you want to be. Just giving out a script and saying go for it is not coaching. It's not.
I understand. Okay, and your kids right now, or they're still living with you, right?
Yeah, my daughter, yes. My daughter's actually in college. She's going to school at GGC, one of the local colleges. So, and my son is 17, so he'll be graduating next year, which is another reason why, because I don't know what they're going to do.
Okay, got it. And they're planning to move out. That's why you're looking to sell, or are they going to be moving in with you on another house?
No, they're moving with me. We're all going together.
Okay, got it. Got it. Well, yeah, it's totally fine if you don't want to fully disclose how much it was offered, but you said 200,000 range. I get it. So I'll just put that in the notes, and that way, once I present it over to them, I want to make sure that I can relate all the information over to them that would be beneficial for you. So, just for your reference.
Why I'm stopping because I want to give you guys context why we do what we do. The why is very important. Jay also, what he did was right now was intentional. We do this intentional, repeat ourselves that we always take this information, give it to the underwriter, because for you, that emphasizes that I'm with you on the same team. I'm your playmate here. You and I together are going to do this. And any information you give me, but is going to help us get you what you want, right? You have to repeat that throughout the call a couple times. That builds trust. Repetition builds trust because it indicates consistency. This was also intentional.
By the way, I'm sorry, I don't want, I can't. Kaylee, right?
It's Kelly.
Kelly.
Yeah.
Kelly. There you go. Sorry.
The reason why he makes this mistake, her name is spelled a little bit funny, is Kelye. It's not like the usual Kelly, so he gets confused. And I was confused about it as well.
So okay. Kelly, just for your reference, the properties that we do put into our portfolio generally do one of two things. We typically keep them as a rental property and hold on to it long term, or we would resell them to our partners. It's going to be either one of two. And some of the benefits.
This was an innovation pitch. Everybody makes this innovation pitch so complicated. We just pitched innovation. 5 seconds. There's one of two things that we do with these properties. We either keep them for ourselves or we're going to resell it and then transition. Now, when you go into the contract, you're going to explain it a little bit more, but you're not overcomplicating it on the call to cause friction. Don't bother your momentum. You're going to have a lot of other things going over at the contract level at the end when there's a pre-marketing agreement and selling it to a third party. And if you do POA or whatnot, then you will discuss this. But then you can always refer it back saying, as I mentioned earlier, we either resell it or we're going to keep it. One or the other. Michael, go ahead.
So, because originally, I mean, the way I was taught by Eric, it's when they pitched it right at the beginning, right at the intro, they mentioned that they either fix and flip it or keep it as a rental. So do you guys completely scratch that and instead of
I tell you why.
flip you?
I tell you why.
I really like this. This is a nice nugget. So obviously we keep it or we resell it, and then obviously when you're pitching novation, it fits the criteria as a third party.
It complements that. It complements that. Exactly. You're planting a seed and you elaborate on it when the time is right. Right? The reason I personally don't like to use fix and flip, because fix and flip has a negative thought process towards a lot of sellers because they see fix and flippers as investors that are hardcore and this and that. Fix and flip is a very common word that is being used. Some people misuse it, some people not. Why would I put myself in this category? We do fix and flip, but why am I saying that? I always try to, and I encourage you to, always try to do things a little bit different, but attach a why to it. Not just because it's different, I'm just going to do different. Think about it, attach a why to it. The reason I present these things the way I present it is because I repetition. I started with Eric's script 2 years ago. But after 2 months using it, I rewrote the whole thing. And last year, I rewrote the whole thing again. Okay? So with enough repetition, you will know why you're doing what you're doing, and you can adjust it accordingly. And that's why we came to this conclusion, because it complements the narrative of an ovation without overcomplicating it, which still gives you a good planting a seed kind of a concept in order to later relate back to it. What does reselling actually entail here? What do I mean by
as you rewrite the script? Because there are a few things that I feel like in the script they're corny, and it just can't, like, it can't come out of me the proper way, which till today
that is good.
Till today I can't push myself to say, congratulations, your house has been approved.
I tell you why.
Fucking price.
Why?
Why does it
I tell
make
you
me
why.
feel that way?
Because it's not authentic to you. That means you shouldn't do it.
I mean, me congratulating somebody that their house, I'm about to give them 50 cents on a dollar, it doesn't sit right.
You know what?
How do you spin it?
I'm the same way as you. And you know what? I changed it. I made it something that is more suiting for me. Because if you make it suiting for yourself with intention, you sound much better because you're more confident and authentic. So the way I say it is, hey, bud, I'm very excited. Your property actually did get qualified. I changed that up. It's same as congratulations, but I'm not saying congratulations, balloons, pop it. It's the girl. No.
Sit down. Are you sitting right now? Sit down.
Are you sitting? And your property's worth shit. No, obviously that doesn't work for some people, right? So I say, no, it's not about the price. It's the fact that we actually qualified the property. It actually got qualified, which I'm excited about. That was the first step. Let's go to the next step, because the next step is negotiation.
Yeah, the dance.
Right? So I hope this helped, Michael. But my opinion is always, when first force yourself to do it, because maybe your discomfort is because of the unknown ignorance of it. Maybe it's very powerful, and once you get used to it, it's really, really good. But once you force yourself doing it and you realize, hey, it's not that I'm ignorant, it just I don't believe in it, then you can change it up. Then you can try things out. It's so funny that you mentioned that everybody has a different area that they find corny or uncomfortable. Like Jay had the hardest time saying, write down my phone number. The hardest time.
This line is very important.
Yes, but he had the hardest time. He had the hardest time. Yeah.
The intro and the information, your information is super important as they're looking at it while they're talking to you. And so as they're looking at it, they're imprinting your name, they're imagining you over the phone.
Look, there's a lot of things you can do. Even that, I have ideas of how you can do this, conveying the phone number. There's so many other ways that you can do it. But it was an important part. And he felt very uncomfortable. And eventually got over it because it was very valuable, just like you said, Michael. It was not something you want to skip. So at that point, it might not feel authentic to you, or it's not you, but this is something that you must do. So you have to be able to differentiate. Is this something that I'm just uncomfortable with and I can pitch it differently? Or is it something that I'm out of ignorance, don't want to get into because I don't want to deal with it because it's uncharted territory? So you have to evaluate that for yourself. Okay. Any other questions before we continue? Jay.
Well, maybe just help us understand your sales process. So Jay, your guy, do you consider him an appointment?
No, closer.
So you
Yeah.
consider him a closer?
Anybody that calls for me supposed to be a closer. If you're not a closer, don't waste my time. Or at least if you don't want to be a closer, don't waste my time. Anything in between is you doing baby work, gathering condition information. I mean, if you're not capable of doing that, then why are you even in this business, right? So the whole point is at the beginning, when you get started, I'm going to train you to be a closer. If you cannot close after 2 months, then we're wasting our time.
Okay. And then why would he then escalate the lead to you?
Well, here's the thing. When it comes down to contracts and getting them signed on the contract, I just do a better job. And he really wants the commission, you know? And I also really want the deal. So he
Team
sent
effort.
the
Sure.
yeah, team effort. So he actually sent the contract. He told me I sent the contract, and I was in Arizona at that time, right? I was right before the airport and whatnot. And then there was some hiccups. She had some questions.
Okay.
And Michael, didn't feel confident because he doesn't know as much. One says ignorance of lacking information. Two, he wouldn't come off confident. His whole confidence was diminished at the contract. And what happens then? Trust level drops. So I come in, and you guys know how I am, right? I come in, build trust really quickly, and then I go through the contract, no problem, and I have them sign on the spot. Right? So team effort is good, but if they cannot get them, like Jay at the beginning, what he would do, he would send me stuff, and the price was not right. And after a while, I told him, hey, don't waste my time. Don't send me shit. Only send me stuff when they're ready to sign. Don't have me go over the objection of signing. That is your job. You're closing. I'm just going to over the contract for them to get them to push the button. But if they're not ready to sign, don't have me call. And he was like, what do you mean? I was like, your job is to close. When I say your job is to close, I'm not joking. You have to make sure this person is ready and willing and able to sign when I speak to them. And when you push that narrative, at some point they get it. Of course, you have to do a lot of training. How do you deal with objections? And by the way, here we will probably go over it in a little bit. We're going to skip the entire condition part. I don't think we need to go over that. This was just the intro, and we're going to get there. But this is right now 10 minutes and 48 seconds. That's it. How much did we unpack here? How much of it was intentional? Everything is about this intentional. Once you get this clicked in your head that everything you do is intentional, there is no accidents, only then you're in control of the narrative. Only then. If you are not doing things in intention with intention, or just half of it is with intention, you are not in control of the conversation. Your chances of closing is diminished, and your competition is competing. But if you do everything intentional, guys, 80% of these competitors out there are squashed. Squashed. Okay?
Benefits and key advantages you would experience if we do end up working together is we would buy your home as is, meaning there's no need for any repairs or any improvements on your end. We would handle all the renovations from contractors and budgeting for repairs. We're going to do that, so you don't have to do anything on your end. We would handle all the closing costs as well, which can save you a significant amount, and you won't have to pay for any commission since we're not brokers or agents. We're direct buyers. Do you have any questions so far?
Very important is also very intentional. We don't just say we're buying the property as is, no closing costs for you, and guess what? No commissions. Boom. No, that's lame. Every motherfucker. I'm sorry, guys. Every guy says that, right? Every person says that. You got to give some context. Hey, we're buying the property as is. You don't have to be worried about any repairs or improvements on your property. We're also paying for all the closing costs, which can save you a significant amount. Highlight it, elevate yourself. Give some context what that means. You're saving a significant amount. And there's no commissions that you have to pay because we are not brokers, we are not agents, we are simply just direct buyers. And when you do that, you slow it also down because you want to highlight something important. You know how many times I hear, we buy the property as is, we pay for all the closing costs and blah, blah, blah. Okay, bye. Well, you just diminished your value proposition. You just basically said you're not important. You just basically said that what I'm giving you is not even of value. Well, if you're giving something of value, best believe, amp it up. If you have kids, you know what I mean. Sometimes you have to just amp it up. Say like, hey, this is amazing. Look at this. And they're looking at you like, I'm not impressed sometimes. So do the value proposition. When you get into value proposition, you slow it down intentionally so they can consume and actually digest what you tell them. And you want to give some context to it so you can highlight it. Okay? And Jay, why are we doing this?
To set them up for the close.
Micah, why are we doing this?
To amp it up.
What? Why we are doing this?
We're amping them up because you're about to hit them with a low offer, which
Maybe.
you need their positive feedback.
Maybe. Vadim?
To show the benefits, how it can be easier for them to sell the house.
Bo, why are we doing this?
Showing the value of building trust between one another.
Okay, Fatima, are you still with us?
Yes.
Why are we doing this?
This is to seed plants when we go to close them for the offer.
Okay. Tyler, why are we doing this?
I was just gonna say just to build trust and just because you're about to give him a lower offer than he's probably expecting.
Very good. Ricky, why are we doing this?
Rapport, constant relationship building.
Very good. Everything that you guys all said is correct, but everybody had a different perspective, right? But the key here is because we are intentional. That's why we're doing it. Everything we do has to be intentional. And everything that you guys said is correct, but everybody has a different perspective on intention. What's your intention of asking a question? The intention of asking a question for Jay might be different than for Jay than for Bat. Can we agree on that? That makes a salesperson dangerous and different. Not all intentions are the same. But the fact that we all need to have in our mind is, let's try everything that we're doing to do it with intent. By the way, it makes you also a dangerous business owner. It also makes you a dangerous husband in a good way, and a wife. Right? Okay.
Yeah, I was just wondering because, like I said, some of the other companies I've talked to always talked about, like I said, do you guys have any kind of assistant programs like to help me find other housing or like how does that process work? Like if we were to say your offer is what I need, what is the process on? Is it like how would that work?
Okay, let's unpack this. Very important. This gave us right now a lot of information. It sounds not like a lot, but it's actually a lot. And if you are with intention, you focus on this right now. Jay said the value proposition of the offer, as is all this other good stuff. And then he always says, because that's his job, because you are placed from empathy and control, do you have any questions about this spot? Is this all clear? You always put that in your lines. She then says, that is clear. And now she says, is there some kind of program that you can help me with in terms of moving? That gives you two things right now, very important things. What is it?
Can I?
Yeah, sure.
So it's funny because literally I've been waiting for my leads to say and ask this, okay? Considering that this lead is being set up for innovation, the way we would set it up, I mean, this is what I've been anticipating, that this is, I'm ever going to anticipate this or stumble across a lead like this that would ask if you have an assistance that would be able to help us look for a different house. Considering that this is a setup for a novation, the way we would approach this situation, that absolutely, okay, considering that we're using an agent to sell your home, I'm right away setting that lead for an appointment with my agent that is selling their home and listing their home for
That is your
innovation.
business model. That is your business model, which everyone has a different one, Michael. I appreciate that. But my question is narrowed to these two because I want to keep it on the context on sales, okay?
So let me get this.
Okay.
To help, if we have an assistance program, we do, because the agent that's selling their home can be also set up for an appointment to assist them with selling or buying
Put
their
that to
new
the
home.
side. Put that's technical. Going to the emotional. What,
Okay.
When she said that, what does it mean to you?
She needs help. She doesn't know what to do.
When do you
Trusts
ask
you.
for help? This is a very key question about you're on the right path. When does somebody ask for help? And who do they usually ask for help? Somebody that they can what?
Trust.
Trust.
Boom! Here's where we got her. She just basically said, I trust you, Jay, based on everything we discussed. Can you help me actually finding a place? Do you have a program
I
like
see what
that?
you're saying. Yeah.
This is the key that you want to focus on, because you got right now a signature that, Jay, you're doing everything right. I'm actually asking you for help, and I usually don't ask for help if I think you're a total fool.
Her saying that confirms that she's good with him.
Yes, full control, guys. You're in full control of this call. Intentional. Go ahead, Jay.
You said there were two reasons. So first,
Yes, I'm going to the second reason. Second thing is, this is an objection. Why is that an objection? Because this is something that could hold her back in moving forward. This right now was very, very important. And if you have a hard time identifying it, no problem. Just do more calls and you will eventually do it naturally. But that was really, really important. Any questions about this? Because this is really to highlight the intention within your calls, being aware, not buying on Instagram, not doing bullshit stuff, focusing on the person, especially somebody that is as open as she is.
How do you overcome her objection?
Easy. And we actually had to overcome this. Jay didn't know exactly how to overcome this. I had to tell him what to tell her in order to get us her sign. And at the end, we're gonna hear it, but I'm gonna tell you right now. We don't have a program to really find the property for you because obviously you have preferences. We can for sure put it in our inventory and see if there's something there for us to show you. But what we can do, we can give you, and she hasn't shared that information yet, but she needs a rental property. But she needs money in order to move to the rental property. What do you usually need to get into a rental property? Security deposit and moving expenses. We will pay you, you pay us at closing. That's the solution. How many people do that? Not many. What now? More trust. Skin in the game. You giving me $5,000-$6,000 before we close? Prior to closing? Yeah, no problem. We'll just sign an addendum. So we'll subtract it at the closing at the end. We want to make sure you have a smooth transition. So that shouldn't be a problem. I have to get this approved. I cannot commit to it yet, but I put this right now in my notes here. That is something that is important to you. Would that work for you, Kelly? 99 say yes. Okay, so this was a very, very important one. So when you say, do you have any questions? Don't just say it, also listen. Because now you're in the game. You know now your introduction was great. You know you explained everything great. You know this person is trusting you now. And you got already your first objection of why she wouldn't move forward. We have something great here, right? Let's move. Okay, any questions? All right.
So let's say hypothetically.
Question, guys. Does any other coach go as detailed into fucking sales as me? I want to know. Seriously, I don't
Oh
think,
man,
because I had to
you
figure this out myself.
you the level of subterranean analysis is phenomenal. Maybe Ian at Steve's guy, Ian Ross. He's at the same
He's
level,
good. Yeah, there
but
are some good people out there, but you don't get this in-depth self thing because you really have to, if you want to
listen to the
be,
call.
yeah, if you want to be good, you have to aim for good or great, right? Andy Elliott, his salesman, he's like killer. I mean,
I can't look at his shorts, man.
when I listen to Andy pitching me on a sale, I'm like, fuck, he's good. I know what he's doing, but he's so good the way he does it. And you know what? For him as well, it is confidence that you have to build in. You have to believe that you are the shit. You have to believe that you are better or aim to be better. You have to believe in competition. You know, those people that don't believe in competition, they're like, I'll be all fair, kumbaya, bullshit. You have to believe in competition because then you have enemies. When you have enemies, you want to overdo enemies. Not in a negative way. We don't want to kill those people. But competition are a form of enemy in a positive way. Don't take it the wrong way, okay? If you want to win over your enemy, you got to build confidence, right? So amping yourself up is going to help you. Don't be modest when you look into the mirror and you tell yourself, I'm the baddest motherfucker here. I'm going to show you assholes. I'm going to crush you all. Guys, I personally have to say it to myself. I'm going into now other things that are much bigger, and everybody in that field is bigger than me. And you know what? How I go in? I'm going to show you motherfuckers. I learn from those people, but I have to push myself up. So building confidence can really, really help. Let's continue. I talk too much, guys.
We go
Let's go to
over
the
the
next.
process. I get all the information with the condition of the property, and we're gonna check on the comps on what properties are selling for, and hypothetically, we get the property approved. And once there is an approval for an offer, and let's say hypothetically speaking, you're also interested in moving forward with the sale. The first thing that we will do is we will email you the purchase agreement and the underwriter.
So Jay is making a mistake here. He's going into the process way too early because he heard the objection, and instead of tackling the objection as an option for a resolution, clarifying and discussing the objection, he didn't know what to do. So he went into default. At this point, there's an objection. Let me explain to her the process. He did not realize that she said, Jay, I trust you. He did not realize that. You can tell it. It didn't kill the deal or anything like that, but you shouldn't go into process right now because that's not her concern right now. The process comes later when you lay out the offer at the before saying the name. But this is also a form of pivoting, right? If you don't know what to say, don't choke. Look into your toolbox and say something that could help you, right? And in order to have something handy as a toolbox right away to get on it, you need to know your shit. You need to have a map guide the process. So you're like, I don't know this. Let me take this from this area and put it into this area now, because that's what I can come up with. Okay.
Is going to be hopping on a phone call with you to go through the agreement, answering any questions you might have. And once you give your authorization, we will kickstart the escrow process by funding it. And once we fund it through escrow, we will arrange for an inspection with one of our trusted contractors. And on this process, it isn't about finding any faults on the property. Rather, it's to pretty much just plan what we might need to do in terms of renovations and updates that we need to do after acquiring your property. And once you plan that ahead of time, all we need to do is just pretty much just wait for the closing date. So we aim to make this process as stress-free as possible. And that's about it. Do you have any questions so far?
No. So what? So would there be will there be a stipulation saying that I'll have until this? But
Now the objection is coming back. Why is the objection coming back? Because he didn't answer to the objection. This is right now another check mark for you to know this is the objection. Her objection is the moving process.
this date to move out, or am I able to pick the closing date due to the fact that will have to find other arrangements. However, me finding other arrangements will be contingent on receiving the check or however you guys do funds from the selling of the house. How would all that work?
Yeah, so one of the things that the previous homeowners liked about us when we worked with them is we're pretty flexible in terms of timeline. So we typically give you guys up to 90 days. So it just definitely gives you the buffer, especially for situations like yours where you really haven't figured out where and when you're going to be moving out. So we give you at least 3 months to plan ahead accordingly and give you enough time. And we're pretty flexible. We can definitely work with you. In case 3 months is not enough, we can extend it to 120 days, 4 months. So the only requirement that we need is the property needs to be vacant when we close on the property. Did you have any questions about that, or were you?
Okay. So
that was a mistake. He made a mistake.
Okay. I see what you're saying. Okay.
But then she got it.
Because, and I have to give him also props. He's talking around it and try to solve this key. He knows there's a problem, and he's trying to solve it with the tools that I gave him. He didn't connect the dot, which I told him in the past, that in situations like that, offer that we pay for the transaction, for the transition, and then we on a closing. He could have just said that, right? But you can tell that he's struggling and he's trying to come with things that he believes would semi solve this problem, because timeline flexibility might semi solve a problem. At the same time, when we do innovation, how many days do we want? 90. So he's already planting the seed with that as well. Vadim, yesterday in the group, you said something similar. I get objections, this and this and this, and sometimes I choke. This is where Jay is right now. So if you have enough tools in your toolbox, sometimes you don't have the perfect key now for that lock, but you need to have options. So grab into your toolbox and take something out.
Why? What were you thinking? Were you looking for like post-possession? It sounds like that's what you were looking for.
Because like I said,
so finally, he says, let's get the elephant out of the room, right? Let's call it out. It sounds like you're asking for post-possession, because she was indirectly asking for it, but she didn't know maybe the terminology. She didn't want to talk about it freely. And he's now, let's get to the stake, right? Did you mean you need post-possession?
average, right? Like right now, the average, even apartment or townhouse, wants you to have like 2 months, at least 1 month rent, 1 month security, and other things. And like right now, with the situation, like I said, with the situation I am credit wise and things of that nature, I will probably need the extra deposit. If we're not allowed to use my daughter's credit, because her credit is so much better than mine. The extra deposits and stuff like that. So that was just one of the, like I said, one of the other companies that I had talked to. They do assistance with that, and finding other. So I didn't know if it was like, okay, we don't get whatever is left after when we pay the mortgage off, I won't get that check till closing. How does all that work?
Yeah, so pretty much, if that's your concern, I was...
Okay. Important. She gave a lot of intel right now. Jay, what's the intel that she right now gave?
One, competition has offered her first, last, and an additional bonus security deposit. Two, credit issues. Three, she needs the money up front before close. And then four, in the beginning of the call, she said the other company was much lower, but has some other, she said, some other things that makes the offer attractive. So this is the objection that needs to be overcome.
Boom.
And just to
Perfect.
lock it in.
Perfect. So we know, one, she has money problems, credit issues. She's relying on her daughter's credit in order to get a rental property. Very important. That means there's stress, there's uncertainty. They're very concerned about the moving process in a rental property. So now when you know that, you want to make sure that part is as nicely packaged and helpful for them as possible. That is solving her problem. You know, when people say like, you have to aim to solve a person's problem in order to sell, she's basically telling you her problem. She laid it all out for you. You have to put the puzzle pieces together, but you have the pieces by now. And by the way, 15 minutes 48. How much intel did we get out of this? Pretty good, right?
Thinking, because
we haven't even fucking shared our phone number with her. We're not even at that section yet.
There are some times that we can make an exception. I know you need the cash in hand for you to put a down payment, etc. 1 month advance. I get that. So we could possibly work with that because we're pretty flexible. Again, our goal is to make this process as stress-free as possible for you, and we want you to have a smoother transition. So maybe we can arrange for something. Let's say we close after 3 months from today, 3 months, and after 3 months, we give you at least another 1 to 2 weeks post possession, just so that you have.
So now, what Jay is doing is this. He's like, damn, I'm in a situation. Omid is at this event in Arizona. I cannot message him right now. I have to come up with a solution. I cannot deflect because I'm very hard on him and any closer when they ignore a seller and their objection. Because I know it comes later to bite us at the offer section and we won't be able to sign. This is the opportunity you paid for. You paid for a lead. Here's the lead. So if you ignore her objection right now, by the time you get to the offer, it's already too late. So he's doing a good job. He's trying to fix it, right? So he's offering post-possession without approval from me. Because he knows if he doesn't tackle this right now, he won't close. He knows it, right? So he said, hey, would 1 to 2 weeks post-possession work for you? We do that sometimes, but 2 weeks is a long time, especially when we do innovation, because retail buyers want to move in right away, right? Because they don't feel good about giving all the money out and not getting the property right away. So that is easing her down now, but then later we implement the other solution. Why don't we just pay you $5,000-$6,000 and you do that transition, right?
To give the down payment, you already have the money in hand. But pretty much you're already packed up and you're good to go. So it just gives you like a buffer to not be in a tight position where you don't have anywhere to go to after receiving the
right. And that's my main concern because, like I said, the kids are still in school. My son is still in school. They'll be out of school next month. But actually May is coming tomorrow, so it'll be this month. But I just want to make sure that I'm in a position where I can kind of, have the money that I need to make this a smooth transition.
Mm-hmm. Of course, yeah, we can definitely work with that. We can definitely discuss the things that we can help you with in terms of that kind of nature. And that's one of the things that we can help you with. And again,
Jay's overwhelmed
our goal is to pretty much help you out to have a better situation where you would be comfortable. So that's not a problem. But those are the things. Do you have any other questions?
Okay, so With Jay, you notice right away when he gets uncomfortable, when he doesn't know, because he needs clear direction. For all of you guys, when you have salespeople, acquisition managers, closers, whatnot, you have to clear them clear direction, because as soon as they don't get a clear direction, they get run out of tools, they choke. He's kind of choking right now. He's getting like his confidence is dropping. You see it because he doesn't know. Oh my gosh. But he saved it with what he had. He saved it with what he had. At this point, we know the only way we can close on this is we have to solve this problem. Can we all agree on that? Because we're not talking even about price, guys. We haven't even asked her how much she wants. She opened up, she's trusting us, and she's telling us what she needs. And that's what we got to do, okay? Another thing I want to highlight, very, very important, make a note of that. It's very, very, very important. When you say something, give context. Context is always attached to a why, which gives you credibility and builds trust, okay? Jay, last week, we had a deep conversation about it. We worked it out together, where I was like, you cannot just say something without context because you're not attaching the why. If you don't attach the why, the people is not going to even understand why you're doing what you're doing. And when you pay attention, and you can go back on YouTube and listen to this call again, when you pay attention, Jay gives to everything context, most of the things. He gives always context, very important. And I hope we can skip now to the anchoring part.
Anything you wanted me to clarify so I can explain it further to you?
Okay, asking again a question. Is there anything else? Have them give you the green light that you can move forward.
No, and do you, and again, just questions that I'm asking because they've come up in other conversations I've had. Have you all worked with veterans at all? Because I am a veteran, so do you have any kind of veteran initiatives or anything like that?
Yeah, we have worked with veterans before.
Okay.
I'm not sure if there are programs, but typically the standard that we give is just we buy it as is.
Okay.
We would handle all
Overwhelmed.
the closing costs, and you have to pay for
Okay.
any commissions on this transaction. So that's pretty much the upside of going with us.
Okay.
How much is your mortgage payment monthly?
So now he's transitioning, deflecting to another thing. So what I would have said here, oh, well, wow, this is a great question. I know that our value, I mentioned the value of propositions before as is, closing this and this and this. I will make a note of that. This is very good information. Let the underwriter know so they can take that in consideration when they make the offer. Is that all right with you? That's what I would have said. Right? He didn't know that.
Right now, my mortgage payment is, because I have a primary and a secondary, so. Oops. So right now, I'm paying $1,800 a month for my mortgage.
$1,800 a month.
Yeah.
That's in total?
Yes.
Okay, and that's including insurance and
Okay,
taxes.
guys, should we jump now to the anchoring part? I mean, every minute is going to be valuable, but I also want to condense time, right? Let's go to the anchoring part because that's when the price comes in, upfront contract, all the other good stuff, okay? Let's get there. I just sent off and I'm told really okay. Okay. Just collecting like hospital collection. Let me just fast forward here and see.
Like I said, I said 320 to 360, but
Oh,
that is just it's safe and it's quiet. Like I said, it's a good place to raise kids.
Lastly, I think this is what I'm gonna do. I'm just finalizing my research in your area, and I'm actually
Okay.
in the process of assessing the local market right now, which I must share
This is the anchoring process. You started right over foot, okay?
with the underwriter. So while I continue to gather some details, um, let me ask you, are you familiar with any of the properties that were sold recently around the area?
No, but I'm actually like I said, my friend is a real estate agent, and she is getting that together for me as well. So with me selling the house, so I can kind of see what else, where the market is at with houses that are almost like mine, that may need a little work. Like I said, the painting or the fence. So she's in the middle of getting that for me. So I will be informed probably by tomorrow.
By tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Well, yeah, I can definitely do a little bit of research here on my end because I am assessing the local market. And just to give you a little bit of insight, so I'm not setting this as an offer, but this is purely based on the analysis that I see. Looks like based on the proprietary system that I see on my end, other
Proprietary.
investors here have been buying properties comparable to yours for a quick cash deal on a fixer-upper condition. I see houses that were sold around the 305 to 315 range.
Okay.
Those houses are fixer-uppers. They need a lot of work.
Okay.
And I'm not saying that your house belongs to that category, but for houses that are in a fairly renovated condition, that already has upgrades, but needs a little bit of cosmetic work and a little bit of paint. Those houses that I see are ranging around the 330 to 340 range. And these are just figures to give you an idea of what's happening in the neighborhood. And again, this is from a software that allows us to see properties that were sold off market, so they weren't on the market.
Okay.
And based on this, where do you see your price expectations fitting in?
Like I said, I said 320.
Okay. Let's unpack this. You anchor without anchoring the traditional way. You're anchoring by saying, hey, we have a proprietary software here, right? And which shows us all the off-market transactions, not the on-market transactions. And I see two categories. I see a category that is like fixed and upper properties that are really distressed. And I see ones that are more complement to yours that just need some cosmetic love, perhaps. And then you give them a price range. By the way, these price ranges are you're planting the seed of your offer. That way they don't get insulted or anything like that later. Because you told him off markets are selling for that price. By the way, are you lying? No, every wholesaler, any investor is going to be around that price. If you're not a rookie, you know how much a house sells at a discount. And now you get an idea of a reaction without being within an offer. You're not even at an offer stage, but you're already getting a reaction. And the goal here is for them to negotiate themselves down before you make the offer. That's the why. Okay?
20 to 360, but like I said, I know the house needs it. So at the minimum, I'm willing to accept the 300,000 or 305 at the minimum, because again, I know that the house does need some upgrades. It does need it's not a fixer upper. Like when you say fixer upper, to me, I'm thinking the house is not livable as a fix. You know what I mean? When you say fixer upper.
Yes.
But I do understand that, in today's market, my house does need upgrades. So I would go as low as 300,000.
300,000. Got it.
Yeah.
And taking into that's all taking into consideration like the facts of the neighborhood, right? And we would buy the home as is, no closing costs, no commission.
Correct.
And given all that, that's 300,000 is your best price.
Correct.
And is that the best you can do?
Okay. What is he doing? Because I told him, no matter what they say, I want you to go and ask 3 times. Even if you know it's a deal. He knows it's a deal. You still have to ask 3 times. Why? If you right away jump on it, they will smell the food. They smell the kitchen. You're getting excited. Oh, 300,000? Oh, okay, now we're moving already forward to the sell. Okay, something is off. No, I want 350. No. But also on the other side, somebody that is a little bit more not as willing to hurt to negotiate. Also on the other side, they feel a little bit pressure to negotiate with you or negotiate against themselves. So we asked 3 times, Jay, how do you see your prices coming in comparing to these? I have to be at 320. I understand. So you're saying with us paying for the closing, with us buying the property as is, with us not charging for any commissions or fees, everything as is this the best you can do? Yeah, I cannot go lower than 320. Is that the best you can do? I maybe could be able to do good at 310. Okay, I will let them know. Because we are not at the offer stage, I will let them know. So you preparing them for the future negotiation without being in the offer stage yet, just based on comparison. He did it a little bit too fast. He's supposed to do it like that. 5 seconds, no word, to put some pressure and urgency on them and some insecurity and say, is that the best you can do with a lower voice? Yes, the best. Okay, got it. I will put that in. All right.
That's the best I can do. I mean, meaning that I know that, if I could afford to do the upgrades myself, I could have sold my house for close to $400,000, if not more.
Understood. Okay. So, hypothetically speaking, if ever we were to show up at your doorstep with a certified check tomorrow at 5 p.m., are you saying you wouldn't take anything less than 300,000?
Yeah,
Is that right?
I mean, it would have to be. There would have to be other. Take anything less than that would have to be some other incentives to go along with that, just to help the process. Like, I mean, because like I said, I have in my mind like to pay down my debts and stuff like that. To walk away with a.
You see, guys, we're squeezing. We want to get everything out to see where we are here, how valid our offer is going to be later. If you don't tackle it now, it's going to what happen at the end? Bite you in the ass. It's going to hurt.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Jay.
One little thing. Help me understand how you would handle this. I know your bracketing system well. I use it every day. I think he made a little bit of a mistake, but I'm asking you. He said properties not like yours that need a lot. Okay, so my question is, how is A, is that right? B, what kind of coaching would you give, Jay?
Well, he said properties not like yours. He's supposed to do it intentionally because you don't want to say your house is not shit. If somebody says your house is shit, it's going to be you yourself. So she admitted, without us forcing her to admit it, that her house is in a lower bracket. You get it? Because we never want to say like, hey, your house is like in really bad condition. Later, we can maybe do that when we get into deeper negotiations and we have to justify our price. But at this stage, you want to be just a messenger. You want to be a diplomat. What do diplomats do? They convey messages in the most tactful and diplomatic way in order to cause the least amount of friction between the messages that share with each other. And you're the diplomat that is conveying this information in order to share it with the underwriting team.
Oh, but what I think he did is he said houses not like yours, 300, 305. Houses like yours, 330.
He did it on,
340.
it's intentional. It's
Oh,
intentional.
So what's the
because
but then she said 300.
Yes, because she basically says, no, Jay, indirectly, my house is not in the upper tier. It's in the lower tier. That's what happened.
Okay.
And we didn't listen to the condition yet. we skipped the condition part, so I don't have much context on it right now to go about. But he did what he was supposed to do. That's how I want him to do it, always. I never want him to go, unless the house, this guy from the get-go says, my house is distressed, dude. Like, bad. Right? At that point, it doesn't make sense doing that. Then you say, houses like yours that are very, very distressed usually go for that price. Houses that not at this price, but it seems like yours fits more into the first one. As you mentioned, it is really distressed. Now you have a justification.
His MAO was 330, 340, sounds like.
Yeah, his MAO was 330 to 340. Yes, you're absolutely right, because there was a second. But yeah, and now he's like, right now, Jay, his heart is beating. He is
out.
right now excited and he's scared. He's scared too because he does not want to mess this up, right? I know. So he's thinking, this is a deal and I'm excited. My commission is going to come good, all right? So do we have any questions about the anchoring part? Okay. Bo, can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
If you implement any of our strategies here, okay, and you make Instagram videos on how you're on the call, please shout out and tag us in it. Is that cool? Is that a fair deal?
Yeah,
I appreciate
absolutely.
you.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you. Thank you. So if you guys have any other questions in anchoring, we will tackle it. If not, let's go to the next step, which is upfront contract. No questions? We're good? All right.
Certain amount, even walking away anywhere. But
Yeah.
on things like, as far as like I saw here, this ain't into that. But like I said, my house.
And this process is pretty much not about finding any faults on the property.
He goes over the process again.
Need to distress friends, but in terms of, I mentioned earlier, we could possibly pay
No, like I said, it's just finding a air work as far as
we do have a set of teams that are local that could possibly have properties that are for rent that could possibly recommend you. So that's not a problem.
Okay, it's here.
So I'll let you. Does have a few more questions.
Okay, so here we are.
I'm sorry about that. Yes, sir.
One pause.
Kelly, I don't have an approval yet. The underwriter does have a few more questions they wanted me to ask and clarify. Has there been any instances of any water damage on the property or any leaks, either previously repaired or currently pending?
Nothing pending. And we did have a toilet overflow, but that was completely renovated and fixed. And that was when they replaced the carpet downstairs, and it kind of, a toilet overflowed or something. But
that was completely repaired, right?
Yes, it was completely repaired. They came in and, it was like 3 different crews came through here and made sure everything was good to go, to make sure there would be no future issues, and I haven't had any issues. And that was like 3 years ago.
Okay. Got it. Okay. And second, are the windows still original, or have you got it updated at some point?
Nope, the windows are still original.
Okay, so it's original. Got it. What year did you purchase the house, by the way?
2005.
2005, when it was newly built.
It was, newly. We were the first family to move to live in it.
Okay. All right, and lastly, by the way, this is important. The underwriter wanted me to ask, if they do present an offer that aligns with your expectations, would you be ready to move forward and put the agreement together today?
So what did we do here? After the first hold, you guys know that already, right? You go in and I ask some specific question. It could be the roof and whatnot. But the only reason why you're asking those questions is going, again, easing down, transitioning into the upfront contract. And this is right now the key, the upfront contract. The upfront contract, just like the anchoring process, has it three, you got to ask 3 times. Got to get 3 times an okay. When you just ask like, hey, if we align with the price, are you ready to move forward? And they say yes, you say, okay. That is not an upfront contract. You got to get it verified, notarized, and a stamp. Okay? And that's what he's supposed to do. Let's see if he does it.
If the offer is correct, yes. If the offer is right and we can all be on the same sheet of music, same page, yes, definitely.
Understood. So hypothetically speaking, timeline-wise, we're good within 90 days. The certainty of the offer is there,
Mm-hmm.
and the price, right, is important.
Correct. Correct. As I explained to you, I have a plan of what I want to walk away with.
Got it. And that number is you're comfortable anything over 300,000.
I'm sorry, excuse me?
Anything over 300,000, you're comfortable with that. That's your comfort range.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Understood. So I'm reeling that over. So as long as we're able to get you an offer over 300,000, everything checks out, you're able to move forward today, correct?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, great. Just got it. I just get a little bit of feeling that you might be unsure. Correct me if I'm wrong, but is there something that could possibly hold this back for you, like maybe needing to discuss it with someone else or something else we haven't discussed?
No, like I said, my main thing is
Okay, let's unpack this. This is something that he has to do even when they jump up and down and say, I sign. And that was something hard for Jay to do too at the beginning. I told him, he's like, hey, they already said 2 times they will do it. I feel awkward doing it. I'm like, I don't care. I want you to do it. And then he fought against it like all salespeople do because they think they know better, right? Me included. And then he realized people would not be signing. And then he started implementing that and his conversion went up. So Jay, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm getting the sense that something else might hold us back. Is there anything else that you would need to do or maybe talk to somebody, something that we haven't discussed yet that could stop us or you in moving forward today? It's a very direct question, and you're basically telling them everything that you told me, good, but I want to make 100% sure, Jay, you're not full of shit. And now Jay can answer.
No. I'm ready. Yeah. I don't see any reason why I wouldn't move forward.
Okay, because now later when they say no, you can hold them accountable in a nice way, of course. Oh, Jay, what happened? We had an extensive conversation about it, and I had conveyed that message to the underwriter. You said you were ready to move forward. Did something change? No, nothing changed, but I have to speak to my wife. Oh, okay, because when I asked you earlier, you said no. There's nobody else. Yeah, but you know what? Now that this is getting a little bit real, I'm getting kind of overwhelmed. That's understandable. Okay, I can see that. You know, selling a house can be a little bit intimidating, especially you lived there for 20 years. Diffuse. Now clarify. What does that mean for you though? Because let's say you do speak to your wife and she says no. Now clarifying process and discussion, going back. That's why you're doing this. Because if you don't do that, you won't have the fuel later to go through the objection because you don't know what the context was in his brain when he said, yes, I will move forward. Okay?
I want to have a place set up, again, because I do have, one young adult and one teenager. One is still in school. I just want to be able to make sure that I can find something, again, in the area that we're in because it's very convenient and we know the neighborhoods that are safe for us. And so that's really the only concern that I have for myself. Not with the deal. If everything works out for us and we're all on the same sheet of music, I'm not worried about the deal. My concern right now is just being able to have the funds to make sure I have that 1 month security, or like with the credit issues that I'm having, I may have to put more for the deposit if they don't allow me to use my daughter's credit. because she'll be,
Understood.
so those are the only concerns I have, but not as far as the deal is concerned. If it's the right deal, we'll figure it out.
Okay. Okay, great. Well, yeah, just making sure I can get you the best offer. So you're just saying, pretty much based on our conversation, how likely do you think you would go with the offer, if all checks out on what we discussed?
If everything works out and we're, like I said, if it's a good deal, I'll be ready to move forward tonight.
Okay.
Okay. So she was very clear, and we got the verification again. The only objection is the transition. She's already good with the price. We already know price is not an issue. And she also just right now said she's not going to sign right away. It's not funny. She said the entire time she's going to sign right away, but now her last words were not anymore right away. What did she say? Listen good. She said tonight. That changes shit. She didn't want to tell you directly, but she said it at the end. So later, got to listen. So when you catch that, she's not ready right now. She has to do something. Talk to her daughter, something is there, short term.
So how do you handle that?
You ask why. Because also, the context that she said, my realtor gives me tomorrow a report. Guys, remember she said that?
I remember.
So we don't know if that was a bluff or not. We don't know if she just said that to protect herself and her interest, that she tries to tell you, I'm not alone. I know what I'm doing. We don't know the agenda behind it, right? But we know that she said tonight, because that means not long term, but short term, there's something that she needs to do. And most likely this is related to talking to who? Her family members that live with her, daughter and son. If you put the puzzle pieces together, you will get your picture. Okay? Let's see how Jay handles this. I didn't listen to this call myself, so let's see.
Sounds good. So yeah, let's say if the underwriting team is able to make an offer that works for you, you have the next 15 minutes free and access to your email on your phone?
Yes, I do have access to my email. I have my email pulled up right now, as a matter of fact.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to ping the underwriter right now and let them know and see what they have to come up with, okay? I'll be right back with you. So please give me another 1 to 2 minutes. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. So any questions before we move forward about the upfront contract?
What would you have done? She said tonight.
I would have said tonight, okay, let me let the underwriter know, because I was about to ask you if you're available in the next 15 minutes if the property does get qualified. Do you need to talk to anybody? Do you need to do something? Just clarifying, right? Right? I wouldn't be too aggressive about this right now, because we know everything is in place. We don't want to lose trust because we want to be too pushy.
Okay.
But we also know a lot of the sellers have burnt us down in the past, being on a call with us for a long time, and then all of a sudden ghosted us, right? But at this point, you also know you did all your due diligence. You verified the price 3 times. You did the upfront contract 3-4 times. You have been having a great conversation over, I don't know how many, like an hour now so far, 1 hour and 8 minutes, right? You know you're at the right price. At this point, I tell Jay always this: when somebody is a person that you cannot push or create too much urgency for them to move forward, create an urgency of 24 hours. And the urgency would look like this. Jay, I absolutely understand you. There are some homeowners that we work with that are right away ready to move forward. And there are some that need just some time. They need to just think about it for a moment. And that's not the problem. We've been having a great conversation so far, and I do think there's some synergy for us to work together. Here's what we can do. In situations like this, we can give you up to 24 hours. And the reason why we do that is, Jay, we speak to a lot of homeowners and we give a lot of offers out simultaneously to this. And we have a specific budget throughout the month that we need to allocate. And if we hit that budget, we have to stop and slow down for that month. And because there's simultaneously other offers pending, we cannot have them just float around for a longer period of time, because if all of a sudden everybody accepts all the offers, we will be over budget, and we don't want that to happen. Does 24 hours work for you? You gave context of why. Remember I told you earlier, always give context of why. When you say they have 24 hours, give them the why. When you say they have 2 days, give them the why. When they say they have only 1 hour, give them the why.
Matt, do you do the thing where I think it's called the seller sells close? So who do you have to speak to? Oh, my wife, my daughter and son. What objections do you think they're going to have?
Well, you don't.
What are you
You
going to
don't.
say?
You don't ask that. Usually, the way I ease it down is like, when did you speak to them last time about to sell? Always ease in. Don't go right away hard, right? Oh, just about 2, 3 days ago. Okay, great. And what was their take? Did they feel positive about it? How did they feel about the sell? Well, they feel good. I mean, we have to do this. We have to downsize. I mean, we talked early about it. It takes a lot of work, blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. What was important to them? What was something that was important to them other than the price in this transaction? Timeline, the way they close, convenience. We already know is something that, got it. So do you think our terms in terms of timeline and convenience would complement what your daughter and son want? Now be in the clarification process, right? Get all of it clarified, and then you discuss. That's great. I'm glad that our system is accommodate, our terms complement you guys' goal. So it sounds like to me, but that as long as we can do the terms that you guys are expecting, and of course the price matches up as well, that we are golden here. We should be able to make something happen. What are your thoughts? Yeah, I think it's actually good. I just need to talk to them about it because it's a big decision for us. We own the property since 2005. My husband passed 3 years ago in this house where we raised our children. Look, at that point, you understand why the seller is apprehensive. He's not trying to push you away. There's a story behind it, and you have to show some empathy, right? These are also humans, guys, right? So you say, in this case, that's exactly what the situation is. So I totally understand that. And if there's anything else, Rod, that you would need, just let me know. I can always pitch it to the underwriter and see if they can help. You are a diplomat. You are the messenger. As long as you deal with China, then we have a problem. Okay, so are we good with this? All right, good. Let's move on. It's on hold.
Oh, okay, yes, sir.
Okay, well,
Hi, thank you very much for holding. I appreciate it. Congratulations. I do have some great news for you. So the property just got qualified for an offer, and I'm actually thrilled to say.
So do you guys remember Michael earlier said, I feel a little bit weird saying congratulations? Because his expectation was to say, congratulations, like Eric does, or some other people. Oh my gosh, balloons, showcase, Magic Mike, whatever that is, right? You don't have to do that here, right? You can also just, hey, congratulations. I'm actually very happy. The property did get qualified, and I'm happy to go over the details with you. It can be also just that, right? You don't have to amp it up if that's not your personality.
That is the first property that has gotten approved for me in the last 5 days. So I'm happy to share all the details with you whenever you're ready.
I'm ready.
All right, perfect. So the offer was approved to buy the property as it stands with no need for you to worry about any of the repairs at all or any renovations.
Okay.
And they put here that they will cover all.
One mistake that Jay is making right now. What is he making? And he has this problem all the time. I have to always tell him,
Speeding up
speeding up.
on important stuff.
Exactly. What would we say? On important value propositions, we slow it down, right?
All the closing costs associated with the sale, and they also approved a closing timeline up to 90 days. And this flexibility ensures the transition without you being in any rush. But if you do end up being able to close sooner, we can adjust it accordingly. Or if you need more time, they said they can adjust it accordingly.
Okay.
That's not a problem.
Okay.
And since we're purchasing it directly from you, there are no commissions involved in this transaction. So whatever we're going to offer you is exactly what you're going to receive in your bank account, of course, minus the mortgage that you need to pay for, and all the proceeds will be going straight to your bank account. Sounds good?
I'm sorry, you kind of cut in and out. Can you repeat that last part for me?
Sure. So since we're purchasing it directly from you, there are no commissions involved. So this means whatever we're going to offer you is exactly what you're going to receive in your bank account.
I think he has
minus the
internet
mortgage
problems.
balance that you have to pay for. So after paying off the mortgage, all the proceeds will be directly sent to you.
Okay.
All clear?
Right. Now you said, okay, I just want to make sure I understand what you're saying.
So this is a very good example, right? Having good internet connection and a headset that works is paramount at all freaking times. Because on important information, if you stutter, if things happen, it lowers the reassurance that things go smooth. It creates obstacles. You don't want any obstacles, right? Obviously, Jay cannot do anything about it. I just forced him with his last commission to buy like the same headset that I have. So he's smooth, and since then so he has maybe some network issues. But always make sure, I see some people doing sometimes calls on the road while they're in the car and stuff like that. And in emergencies, you can do that. But I really suggest that you always, when you talking to these people, make sure everything is smooth as possible. Because that can cause a deal.
Before I agree.
Sure, no worries. I definitely like that you're asking the question. So we're on the same page. You're comfortable as well on your end.
Okay, so Jay, because you were breaking up, I'm sorry to have to ask you to do this, but can you repeat what you said just one more time? Again, you broke up the first time and the second time, so we really couldn't hear. It was kind of like every other word.
No worries.
What did you right now say? Very, very important, guys. If you catch this, I'm hearing it for the first time too.
So the children are there.
They are there.
The children are there.
They're live. They're listening.
Yes.
She said we.
Yes.
So the entire time, she's getting consulted by her children in the back end, listening in, which is a good sign. They all gave a thumbs up so far. And they're all in it. Right? Very, very powerful. At the same time, when they come up with excuses, you will know it. You see the little things that you have to listen? Jay's a good listener. He catches those things.
Of course. I just want to make sure I can relay the information correctly. So am I breaking up right now, or?
No, you're good right now.
All clear. Okay, perfect. So like I said earlier, since we're purchasing it directly from you, there are no commissions involved in the transaction. So whatever we're going to offer you, minus the mortgage balance that you have, which is around 180 to 190,000, and once that's paid off by the title company, all the proceeds will be going straight to your bank account on closing.
Okay. So now, how?
Sounds good.
That sounds perfect. But again, the only question I have is, how do I? Since I won't get the funds until closing, how do I get the funds to pay off the balance on the mortgage? How does that work?
Repeat the question. I'm sorry.
So, since I won't.
So I have to talk to Jay about this because he's creating so many obstacles right now. Not hearing good, this and this is annoying right now. So I have to talk to him about this. But you guys know how to explain the mortgage situation, right? This is like basic. Okay.
Don't get the money till the closing date.
Actually, I don't
the mortgage
understand her
has to be-
question. Can
But
you?
she's asked,
What's her
she's
question?
concerned, she's concerned about the mortgage in terms of how the mortgage is going to get paid. And you know, and basically what he has to say is just the title company, and I had to explain that to her when I was on the phone with her as well, when we were going through the contract. The title company is going to request a payoff statement from the mortgage company, and once they receive the payoff statement, they will pay the mortgage off with her approval from the money that we're putting into escrow. So she doesn't have to do anything from her end, but she will get a settlement statement where everything is going to be listed and she has to sign off on it. Right? That's it.
paid off. How do I pay the mortgages off?
Yeah, so the mortgages will be paid off. So if you're not aware of a real estate transaction, everything is going to be through escrow. So like I said, when you open escrow, the funds will be transferred over to escrow. So they're going to hold the funds for our protection and your protection. Once it's open, they're going to run a title. Any lien, any mortgage against the home will be paid by the title company. So they're going to send you a notice of statement that the mortgage payment of 180,000 or 190,000 needs to be paid off, and the HOA lien needs to be paid off. And once you agree, they will send the payment to the mortgage company and the HOA. And once all liens are paid off, all the proceeds will be going straight to you. So the title company is going to be transferring you the money. It's either you getting a wire transfer straight to your bank, or you can choose to get it personally as a check. Either one. But I think it's more convenient to get it wire transferred to you directly.
Okay. All right. And so, but this won't happen
Does that
till
answer
closing
the
day,
question?
correct?
Till closing, yes. So you don't have to worry about paying off the mortgage because the title company
Okay, guys.
is going to handle.
Need to pay the mortgage. Okay. I was just asking, so like I said, so now, and like I said, my main worry was having enough funds to, if you know, get the 1 month's rent, 1 month's, you know, security deposit and all that stuff. Like I said, I just don't have, you know, $5,000 just hanging around for that or whatever it may cost me to move forward, just hanging around. So we talked about plans and incentives. Is there anything that you all, any partners that you all have in this local area that may have any townhouses or anything for rent that you know of?
As of this time, I will, my boss, my underwriter, is still gonna look for some partners that has availability in terms of their rental properties. So once we find during the 9 months that we have, we're gonna let you know. We're gonna definitely help you transition easier for you.
Okay, guys, let's I guess you guys want to continue listening to it, but I think we went through the majority of the things here. And was that helpful? We didn't even listen to Bob's recording because
no need to. After Jay, like, give me another chance.
Okay, so I want to highlight Jay, English is not his first language. Okay, and he started also with me with zero real estate experience. He would be stuttering, having a lot of problems. So I want everybody that just listened here and everybody that is going to listen later on YouTube when we're not, anybody can become good at this when you have the right team group of people that can actually provide you value. So if you actually want to win and if you want to be better than your competitors, number one, you're doing a lot of calls, right? Experience. Number two, you talk to people like me or groups like us that actually go into depth on why you do what you do. Everything has to be intentional. If you just follow a script, it does not build the confidence, the expertise that you need in order to actually win, because there's no why attached to it. When there's no why attached to it, you're just shooting in the dark. Now, we all start somewhere, right? So you do that obviously when you get started. But if you really want to scale and if you want to get successful faster, this is what it takes. Anybody else that tells you anything else is full of shit. Bo probably can attest to it. He posts his recordings on Instagram, right? His calls, and that tells me that he's on top of this and does a lot of these calls. So he also knows by now what sets you apart is listening, problem-solving skills, and be intentional in what you do throughout the call so you are in control of the narrative.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Owen. Like you said earlier, small group of people who care about it. And just like this, every single call, you think that you know a lot of it, but just little snippets, like little nuggets, as Michael calls it. Like on my next couple calls, I'm really going to work, like you said, on that anchor. And like you said, get 3 yeses out of them. And is that the best you can do? Pause, really just hear them out. So I'm going to implement that. I'll let you know how it goes.
Yes, please do. You know, I always tell the story when I started in real estate and I had finally figured out my lead generation. I had finally figured out a few things where I had finally momentum. I sent 27 contracts out within a month and only 1 person signed. And I was like scratching my head. What is happening? And if you learn sales, you realize, oh my gosh, I didn't do any upfront contracts. I didn't get any commitment. Probably 80% of those contracts that I sent out were not even ready to be sent out. But in my world, it was ready, right? Yeah. So, do we have any other questions or anything else that we want to tackle on? I have a little bit more time. We can do another 15 minutes or so. Anything else? Ricky, Tyler, guys are all quiet.
I have one question, kind of regarding the Zblast platform. And just if I were to create my own list, because lately I've just been importing CSV files that I'll just download from whatever, PropStream or Deal Machine and whatnot. But how I'm not too savvy on spreadsheets, but how would I be able to map for the whole mapping part of sending messages? How would I be able to map my own spreadsheet to where it's compatible with Zblast?
You can, I mean, you can rearrange the columns in your spreadsheet, but you don't have to. Let me do one here for you that hopefully helps with, let me share my screen. Give me one moment, guys. Share screen, boom. Can everybody see my screen? All right, perfect. So let me just log in. Boom, boom, boom. All right, so this is my account, right? When you do a direct import, let's just do one. Let me put one in. I'm gonna just okay. Let me find a list. Okay, so let me just put this one in. Sure. I'm doing a small one so it doesn't take too long. Code violations. There you go. So you get this pop-up, right? Can everyone see it, or is it too small? Everyone sees it? Okay, good. So this is on our column inside Blast, and these are your columns. So you might have in your spreadsheet the column for first name be called anything else. As long as you know what that column is called, you can map it. But what I do it for convenience sake, in my spreadsheets, I call the column what it is, first name. So I know first name goes to first name. And then here you see the examples of it so you can make sure that it is actually mapped correctly. For me, last name is called last name, but maybe when you downloaded it from PropStream, that column for last name is called LN, short for last name, right? So if you know that column is called LN, you will see LN here, and you will map it just with last name. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so that's pretty much what I've been doing when I'll import a list generated from a software like that or any kind of deal finding service. But if I were to, let's say, data scrape my own.
Hold on 1 second, please. What is it, love? Play your piano. Yeah. Yeah. Did she say you can? Okay, then let it cool first. All right, love. I will check for you, but in the meantime, why don't you play your piano and then I get ready to. Okay? I'll be right with you. Okay. So, you like that? All right. Go ahead, Tyler.
Okay. Just with if I were to, let's say, data scrape a local county website, well, let's say, I don't know, a foreclosure list, and I get that imported into a completely different CSV file. It's my own list, and it has column names. I implement each column name where it says, first name, last name, go through all the different mapping things that you might need, like that the Zblast might necessarily need. And so I'll have this whole list created in a CSV file, and when I try to import it, the mappings, and I guess it must be with how I am with on, but in each column they're named first name, the next column last name, and when I import the list and I try to map it, it just won't correlate. It's not lining up.
I mean, if it wouldn't line up for you, it wouldn't line up for all of us. So, are you on your desktop right now?
I'm not. I'm actually outside right now. I'm a bit away.
Okay, then what you can do, just take a video of it, and I can point you to point out what the problem is. Because as I just showed you, when you let me do it one more time here. When you map this, you get the column data right here as an example, so you can make sure that this is correct.
Right. Right. So I'll whenever I do click the first name, it's totally off, and it's a very specific and personal question. It's something I'll just have to shoot to you privately.
Yeah.
Just kind of what I've been doing and how just the obstacles I've been running into.
Right. Yeah. Do me a favor, just shoot me a video or a screenshot so I can take a look at it. But most likely there's some problem with the spreadsheet.
Right. And I definitely think it's on my end and how I am mapping my own spreadsheet.
Perhaps.
Yeah, I'll just show you.
Yes.
I'll just show you a video, and maybe you can, give me some advice and show me what I'm doing wrong.
Okay. And for all those people that don't know what SiteBlast is on YouTube, SiteBlast is a lead generation SMS platform. Feel free to go on the website, check it out. Maybe you like it. If you do, sign up. If not, good luck. Next. All right, guys.
It's great, guys. I love it.
I appreciate that. Go ahead.
My question: whenever you try to anchor them before giving them a real offer, and you say, hey, based on what we see in the area, the house is this and this and this, and as soon as you say them that this is what we see, they kind of flip off like, hey, if this is the price that you're planning to give me, there is no even
let's play that role play. Let's play the role again. But always there's a rule, okay? What's the rule? You know that rule, Vadim.
I'm just a messenger.
That, yes, but what's the rule? What's the rule of the messenger?
Collect information.
Jay, what's the rule? You know that.
I don't know.
Are we convincing anybody to do anything? We are not there to convince. As long as you understand that, you will have always a good conversation. Let's go. Let's do the practice. So, Vadim, I appreciate your time. Look, I'm going right now through the neighborhood in order to send that information to the underwriter.
Bless
Excuse me, guys. Thank you. In order to send it to the underwriter, they're going to determine if the property gets qualified and what they're going to do with it. Now, I have a proprietary software here that shows me all the off-market transactions in your neighborhood. And I can see that houses that are very distressed, yours, by the way, will not fall into this. I'm just sharing the information with you. This is not an offer. I'm just sharing what I'm seeing on the screen. Okay, Vadim? Properties that are very distressed, which yours does not fall into, selling between 210 to 230. These houses need a lot of work. Then houses that just need some cosmetic work, you know. I think based on our conversation that we had about the condition of the property, yours falls more into that category. It needs some love, but nothing extensive. They're selling between $230,000 to $250,000, and those are bought by cash buyers such as us, right?
Omid, I want to stop you right here. I told you my price that I want to get is 350. If this is the price that you're thinking or underwriters are gonna give me, there is no point to continue conversation.
I appreciate you being so candid about it and letting me know about this. Now, look, I'm just sharing with you what I see on the screen. I'm not the one that sets up the price, right? We established that already. So I'm just sharing you what the underwriter going to see. And my job is to make sure you get the highest offer. If this number is $100,000 below what your expectations are and you have no flexibility, I absolutely understand that, but most likely you will not receive an offer that you're going to like. Should I move forward in submitting this to the underwriter? I can do that. If not, no problems at all. At least we gave it a try. I'm just trying to get the best for you that I can from my end.
Listen, I don't need to sell my property. I mean, I want to hear an offer. I guess you can submit to underwriters, but listen, if they're gonna come with such a low price, there is no point that I'm gonna accept it. But I guess, yeah, you can run it if it's not gonna take a long time.
Okay, then let me ask you this. How do you see your price expectations fitting at least into that space? Obviously, you made it clear it does not fit. And I might agree with you. I don't know. You know the area much better than me, and maybe you have some insights that I don't have, which I would appreciate if you would share with me. Do you see other properties that are selling right now for 350 in that area? If you do, please let me know so I can share it with the underwriter. I think that would be very, very valuable.
Not from the top of my head. I've seen some properties even more expensive. I mean, I need to do some research on this, but not right now.
Okay. I see one listed right across your street with the same square footage, with the same count of bedrooms that is selling right now for $275. Now, I'm not saying I know everything about this property, but I'm just sharing with you what my eyes see on the screen. So if I go back to the underwriter, Vadim, I want to be very, very clear. And I tell them that you want 350, but there's a house across the street identical to yours that is selling for 275. Based on my experience, they're probably going to say the property is not qualified, they cannot proceed. But I'm just sharing that context with you because I think it's fair to do.
Okay, Omid, let me tell you this. I need 325. If I sell it for less than 325, I wouldn't be able to buy a property for myself and for my kids. I really need this. I cannot sell it for less than
325. Okay. Let me ask you this, and I think that might help because we have some programs that help specific people with specific situations that might fit with yours. How much do you owe still to your mortgage company?
260.
260. Got it. So you have approximately equity, or you're looking for an equity cash out of approximately $60,000. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Vadim, does it help what I just did?
It was amazing. It was amazing.
That's how you deal with things like that. You always want to highlight that you're coming from a place of a diplomat, but you also want to highlight, I'm not here to convince you.
I'm here to educate you.
educate you, talk to you, see if there's some synergy, see if there's something we can do with each other. If yes, amazing. If not, well, we gave it a try. No harm, no foul, right? But that, you know what I say sometimes when someone is very aggressive, more aggressive than you? I say, Badim, I'm not here to convince you. The last thing I want to do here is to convince you to sell your property. Are you really looking to sell at this time, or you're not sure? And usually they say, I'm not sure. That's why it's so hardball. So you would have wasted your offer. Got it. What are you apprehensive about? What is holding you back by, not about the price right now, but what is holding you back in general of selling? And then when you have that information, you put it in a CRM, and then you will follow up accordingly, because eventually he will be ready.
So at this point, it makes sense actually not to shoot a shot.
I don't shoot an offer when I see somebody is very difficult to when I read the room and I know this person is not going to move forward today, and I know this person has no reason of selling. Because when you ask them what is holding you back or why are you actually looking to sell, if you listen to it, you will know if they're really looking to sell or if they are just looking to an offer. Sometimes somebody tells me the reason and I know there's no real reason. Yep.
I did the.
One more time until I'm done. So just 5 more minutes, 10 more minutes. So I tell them, like, Jay, it sounds like you might not be ready to sell yet, because you just told me the tenant is in for another 2 months and you are not sure yet if you want to keep it or sell it, and you're looking into a lot of options, which I appreciate. That's good. You should do your homework and you should do your due diligence in making a decision how you want to proceed. At this point, I'm not the one that qualifies your property or sets up an offer, but I can tell you, based on what I'm seeing on my screen, that the offers you will be getting will be around anchor. Do you think at this time, based on the position that you're in and the mindset that you have, you would be even able to accept an offer like this at this time? No, I'm not. Got it. Maybe we should reconnect when you have done some of your due diligence and you have you're in a solid position of actually making a decision. Because the last thing I want to do is take your time, get the property qualified, and then it won't end up to anything anyways because we are not ready. Yeah, you know what, Omid, you're right. Call me in 2 weeks. All right. Look, let me look at my calendar because I'm going to be out of town next week for a real estate event. I will be back the following week. I can call you on Wednesday. I have afternoon available. Does that work for you? Yeah, let me lock that in for you. Let me lock that in for you. And here's, by the way, you have my number. If you have any questions from now to then, just shoot me a text. Happy to help. You can also try calling me. I might be able to pick up. Fair enough? Fair enough. All right, bud. Take care.
But it works when the lead is hot, but majority of the cold.
This is a cold lead. This is a warm lead. This is not a hot lead.
Okay. Because whenever first we start with the cold leads that says, I want to listen to the offer, but I'm not planning to come.
Best believe on a hot lead, I don't talk like that.
Mm-hmm.
A hot lead means there's motivation, there's a clear motivation why they're selling, and the price is under Zillow, and the condition speaks for it as well. Mm-hmm. A hot lead, I don't say you're not ready. A hot lead, I say, what is holding you back?
Mm-hmm.
That's the difference, right? When I say you're not ready, I'm talking to somebody that is not ready. That's not a hot lead. That is just a warm lead.
Cool. Thank you, Omid.
You're welcome.
That's amazing.
You're welcome.
I hope you're still recording.
Yeah, everything is recording. I'm going to post it on YouTube today. I'm going to upload this as soon as we're done. You know how many people are not going to watch this and miss out on all the nice pieces of advice here. They go with hype. They see some people having hype online and they spend all that money, do all that thing. And it's like, dude, you gotta dig a little bit deeper. Like the most value I got, these little nuances and nuggets, I got from listening to other people like yourself. And then I infused my personality in it. But as long as you always focus on doing anything with intention, ask questions with intention, number one. And number two, we are not here to what? Convince anybody to do anything. We're directors. We orchestrate. We make shit happen. We're connecting dots. We're putting puzzles together. That's what you're doing. And you cannot do that with convincing somebody. You cannot force somebody to sign if they don't want to sign. Impossible. Cool. Ricky, I think you wanted to say something earlier. Was there something you wanted to share or ask?
No, I didn't have anything I wanted to ask.
Okay.
I enjoyed
Cool.
it.
Okay, perfect. Anybody else having any other questions before we log off? All right, guys. You know what? When you start Monday, let's make some money. Let's close something. Let's get something under contract.
Let's make some money.
Let's make some money.
This week.
Yes. By the way, Jake, congratulations to the baby.
Okay.
How does it feel? How does it feel having another one?
Joyous. Can't explain it. Beyond explanation.
You probably also know much more what to do with it. It's not the first one, you kind of know, oh, I hold it like that. I know how to do it. You're not as scared, maybe.
I'm stumbling my way through.
Okay.
My wife is amazing, though. I'm so grateful.
Good. I think it gives you an extra 10 years to live because it keeps you on your toes.
It does.
There's no relaxing.
It does. None at all.
Okay, I'm coming. I'm done.
Omid, you gotta go. They're waiting for you.
Okay, guys, take care. Bye.
Thanks, Omid.
Thank you.
Bye.
Amazing.
Bye.
Video. Thank you.